Yuki Ishikawa, famous for his spikes, which are also called the hammer, has played in the Japanese team in the Volleyball World Cup. He is hoping to be able to play in the Tokyo Olympic in 2020 as well. Let's look at some of the inside stories that made him a super spiker as he is now. Ishikawa has two sisters and he is in between them. The younger sister, Mayu, is also a volleyball player, and in fact she also played in the World Cup Japanese women's team. But it wasn't because of this younger sister that he started volleyball. It all goes back when he was 9 years old. Volleyball was quite popular where they were living at that time, in Okazaki City, Aichi Prefecture in Japan. His older sister, a year older than him, was a member of the volleyball club. He went to see the match, and that's where it all started. He was even asked suddenly by the coach there to play in this match when he has never played this sport. Yuki only kind of guessed the rules and how to play by watching his sister, but he didn't know, of course, how to spike, and he was told in a very short time how to make the approach and the jump. To everyone's amazement, he hit a good spike in this match, and with this, he decided to go for volleyball rather than baseball, which he just started. In fact, the first sport Yuki found interest in was soccer. It could be because people were excited about the World Cup around this time, and little Yuki may have felt so too. Unfortunately, there wasn't any soccer club in his area, so he joined an elementary baseball team instead. And the turning point came the following year as described before. This picture apparently is the 9-year-old Ishikawa hitting his spike. The photographer probably never imagined that this little boy would eventually become a famous volleyball player in the world. I don't know how much the coach guessed about this little boy's future, but I'm quite sure he guessed the boy was a kind of an athletic type. Otherwise, who would suddenly suggest to a boy who didn't really know about volleyball to play in a match teaching how to spike on the spot? With such a talent in volleyball, you probably would think, is this because of the influence from his parents? Perhaps one of his parents was gifted in sports as well? Well, I would say you're quite correct. Both of his parents were good at sports, and they belonged to corporate sports teams when they were younger. His father with athletics and his mother with basketball. Just to mention, his mother seems to be 165 centimeters or 5 feet 5 inches tall, and his father 184 centimeters tall, which is a little over 6 feet. His mother is about 10 centimeters or 4 inches above average for her age in Japan, but his father is definitely tall for his age here, a little over 15 centimeters or 6 inches. So, Ishikawa may have inherited some part from his father when the height is concerned. Since both his parents were good at sports, it is most likely that they have encouraged their children to do sports since they were small. The volleyball club teams Ishikawa participated in his elementary and also junior high schools were powerfully strong, and so they had away games every week. Parents of these members took turns in picking up and dropping off on such occasions, and it was apparent that Ishikawa's parents had to sacrifice time and money for their children. This wouldn't be possible unless the parents had a good understanding of their child being involved in sports. In fact, Ishikawa's parents had very optimistic minds, and according to Ishikawa, they always respected their children's wills and encouraged them, saying, "Do what you want to do." Although Ishikawa unmistakably had the gift with sports, he didn't reach the present point just by enjoying playing the games, and as you may have guessed, there is always a lot of hard work and failures behind all this. Look at this graph he drew showing his volleyball life. You will notice 2 points where the graph goes down. What happened to him? The first setback was when he was in his first grade at junior high. This was concerned with his height, and he only reached 160 centimeters or 5 feet 3 inches tall. It was evident that he was much shorter than the opponents. That could be a great disadvantage when volleyball was concerned. But this was something he simply couldn't control, and his spikes couldn't make the effects. However, he didn't stop here. One way he did in order to make up for this problem was that he innovated his original practice. He placed a chair in the court and kept making spike attempts until the chair fell. He did this practice over and over again. And guess what the result came about with this? He was able to hit his spike wherever he pleased, a skill that is used even today in the World Cup now, effectively hitting the ball to his desired place with a well-controlled snap of his right hand, achieving points after point. What happened then in his university times, when he presumably was having a wonderful time in his volleyball life? Well, according to Ishikawa, this second setback was to do with his stay in Italy. Accomplishing the short contract of joining a strong team in there when he was only 18, what awaited him was a harsh reality. The first day was muscle training, but he got sick with the long training and had to rest. Then there was the communication barrier, since he wasn't fluent in Italian, and made it difficult for him to communicate with other members. Probably the worst was that he was allowed to be the starter in only 2 games among the 15 during the 3-month stay. He had continuously been playing in matches when he was in Japan. It was so hard and frustrating for him. But this experience too had assisted Ishikawa to know how a professional player should be like, and overcoming these problems made him stronger mentally, which is necessary to play against the world. 3 months stay was too short in order to be fluent enough with a foreign language. But this experience didn't shy him away when another opportunity came for him to go to Italy again later on. There are other minor setbacks he experienced physically. One, for example, was when he was in high school. He suffered from muscle rupture with his abdominal muscles, so the coach made him to be the setter often instead of a spiker in matches to help save his body. But Ishikawa truly enjoyed spiking really. In the end, he told the coach that he wanted to do the spikes, to which the coach gave in as well. When the team was facing a crisis in an important match, Ishikawa, who normally was an undecisive captain of the team, called on to his members to send the balls to him, so that he could attack the opponent with his spikes. The game ended with a dramatic comeback win, yet leaving Ishikawa suffering from a general convulsion. And he still played in the final match the following day, contributing his team to a straight set victory. Ishikawa courageously faced the challenge to go professional far away in Italy instead of staying in Japan after his graduation from Chuo University. This is what he said about in the briefing. I think it is most important to gain experience in the world, and you can't beat the world unless you know about the world. I want to personally feel even more the level of the world out there, and lead this experience to the Tokyo Olympics. Lastly, the following is a message sent to children, but this can still be applied to adults as well. There are at times in matches where you don't get good results. That's because you've had negative images in your mind, like, what if this serve didn't go in? Or, what if they block? And such. On the other hand, when you have positive images in your mind, like, I'll trust in all the practice I have done, or I'm going to play for my seniors who will be leaving, the results were almost always good. So try and continue to have the image of, I want to be like this. I believe that is what you need to do if you want to make your dream come true.